And we're back. Drew DeArmond, ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Also, Supreme Court's here. This is our venue, Guntersville, Alabama. The summer has become such an important part of high school basketball, especially the month of June. And I've got a guy here. We go all the way back to his days at Butler High School when he played. And then, of course, I followed his career throughout his coaching journey. He did a great job at Decatur High School. I remember also he spent some time at Westminster. May Jemison, now back for his second tour with the May Jemison Jaguars. Spent some time in Tennessee, last couple years at Stewart's Creek High School, but he's back as the May Jemison Jaguars head coach, and of course that's Howard Pride. And we look forward to talking some May Jemison Jaguar basketball here with you today at Supreme Court in Guntersville, Alabama. Coach, welcome back to the helm of May Jemison. We're super excited to have you back in North Alabama. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm great. I appreciate the opportunity. Didn't think that I would be back this soon, but you know what Howard wanted and what God had for me were two different things. So I'm blessed. I'm enthralled. I'm happy that the May Jemison and North Huntsville community welcomed me back with open arms.
And for our viewers, I know that some of them may be familiar with your journey and as a player and coach, but talk about how that came about a little bit, because you took the Stewart's Creek job in Tennessee, you turned that program around quickly, you became very competitive in 2 years. But talk about kind of how everything kind of aligned for you to come back to May Jemison.
Well, I'll tell you, the last year we played a guy by the name of Brandon Miller 4 or 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
And he was really, really good. And, you know, we couldn't, you know, get past those guys. But I tell you, basketball in the Middle Tennessee area, things we were able to do. Had a capital project where we built a brand new state-of-the-art locker room last year. Stewart Creek community got behind Coach Pride and those young men. We set the school record last year for the most wins, and just wanted to give the young men an opportunity to get out, get some exposure. We went to the BCAT last summer, played against great competition, so I knew what I had. We were battle tested. We just didn't have quite enough talent to get past Brandon Miller, who's a 5-star, Cambridge, awesome program. But I tell you, the young men that I had, first-class individuals. And then the opportunity, Coach Bonham did a great job. Fell a little short against Lee last year, who were the eventual state champs. He decided to take the Dothan job, and the opportunity to come back home presented itself.
Yeah, and we're super excited about that. Now, last year's May Jemison group, that of course that you had left Coach Bonham, that was a situation where you coached a lot of those kids, but there was a senior-laden team. The core of that team is now graduated. It's a lot of young talent now, but there's never been a shortage of it at May Jemison for the Jags. But talk about this squad you've got. You're coming back for your second tenure.
I'll tell you what. Today was our third day together. Believe it or not, third day together. We Travell Bone, he had a back injury last year. He only played 5 games. He was on vacation the first week, and then we have a couple of other guys that had turned ankles. So today was only our third day getting up and down. So I'm pleased and excited, and played a great Jasper basketball program. Coach Burns does an excellent job. Mortimer Jordan pushed us, but I'm excited about the young men that we have. We'll have 4 seniors this year, led by our senior guard, Kevin Fletcher, and we have Dalian Ford, who saw some action last year, and then Will, 3'4" combo guy, and then I'm excited about Elijah Mackin, 6'6" kid that didn't play at all last year.
Wow.
Got excited about Coach Pride coming back. He's a senior. He works a ton, so getting him to practice has been a challenge. But then you start talking about the young guys that I have. Calvin Turney, you have Dakarian Bryant, you have Jay Horton. We have a solid nucleus, and we're going to be the kind of team that we're going to struggle early out the gate, but we're going to be the team at the end of the year nobody wants to face.
I have no doubt about that. And Coach, the way you run your programs, you're a lot about culture, playing hard, being held accountable to do your job. Talk about coming back to these kids, and a lot of these kids, of course, you know, remember you as a coach a couple years ago, were part of the program and were part of what you were able to establish, which was reinvigorating the Jemison program, making it one of the best in the state of Alabama. But talk about these kids and buying into your style and the way you want to coach them.
Well, I'll tell you, I appreciate you mentioning the word coach. Our culture is our culture. And these young men, the last couple of years, they've had a different voice that they've heard. And
Right.
two things that we're going to hang our hat on, being consistent and being disciplined. And once we get the consistency with the discipline, our culture is going to grow. The talent, like you said, is there. They've got to believe and they got to learn to trust. A lot of times, young men, when there's a lot of turnover, the trust is eroded. So that's step number one. Being accountable for their own actions, I'm big on that. Our hashtag is 1%. We want to get better 1% each day. And after 66 days, we built some habits that they didn't know that they had prior to that. So I'm excited about getting these guys early. After 3 days, I told our coaching staff, we may not win a game, but I like my kids. And when I like my kids, they're going to have the opportunity to grow.
And that's a great segue too. Talk about, you had a great staff when you were here last time. It was a staff that I thought the kids related well to. I thought and I'm a big body language person on the bench, watching kids and the way they interact with their coaches and the way they root for their teammates. But talk about the staff you put together once again here at Jemison.
Well, I'll tell you, it starts with Al Whitted, retired military guy. He's a father figure. He's a solid voice. He's the grandfather to a lot of these young men that they never had. And then we have Darren Reese, who was on Danny Anderson's staff, that had Kyra Lewis. Was fortunate enough to get him. He had stepped away from coaching. Fortunate enough to get him to come back. And then I have some young guys. My freshman coach, he's going to be the next up and coming, really good. Brandon Millsap. He was my manager at James Clemens, so he's been with me. He's interned for 2 consecutive summers.
Right.
He's graduating from Auburn soon, so he'll be my freshman coach. And then my JV coach, Coach Hamilton, who was part of the previous staff. He's got basketball pedigree. He's Wilbert Hamilton's son out of Montgomery. So I surround my guys with great Christian fathers and brothers, and more importantly, you have men that are accountable and they're well spoken, and the kids can see a form of consistency. The theme for me is let's show up and let's be present and let's be example to the young men we serve every day.
Absolutely. And Coach, I know you talked about you've only been together for 3 days. This month, the way high school basketball has evolved, you have your tryouts in late May, and then you kind of hit the ground running, and in June is the building blocks to start trying to get better and see what you've got, and then move on to November. First of all, do you have a lot of multi-sport kids? We talked to Coach Golden over at Mortimer Jordan. They've got a lot of those, so he doesn't see a lot of his guys after this month. So it's very, very important. Talk about how important the month of June is, and May Jemison does have really good athletics, football especially. Do you have some multi-sport kids, and how's that working out?
Fortunate for me, the majority of my guys will go and play during July, which means they're good enough to be a part of somebody's AAU program.
Okay.
And after that, we will get them on the track. We've yet to lift weights and teach them the aspect of nutrition and the things that are important to take care of their bodies. I tell them all the time, the best ability is availability. I don't have a lot of dual sport guys, so we're going to pour into these young guys. You will see some different bodies by the time we take the floor.
Yeah, that's good. That's unreal, because I've seen kids even sprout physically. A kid like Caleb Harrison at Huntsville High, as a freshman, he was 6'1", and by the end of his freshman year, and that was at the beginning of the school year, but by the end of the basketball season, he's 6'6", 6'7". Sometimes kids are late bloomers, or they really mature physically, and that's what you look forward to, kind of the journey. And talk about your team, and I know it's just 3 days together, but what's the most important things they've got to do the rest of this month to get better, and then of course be ready for you in November?
Well, number one, the pace. They've got to get used to the pace that I want to play at. We've got to do a better job of communicating, and then we got to do a better job of guarding. If you know my team, we're going to be able to guard you, and right now we are not in shape to compete at the level defensively, and that's a lot of young guys. But then that's a new program, new culture. The greatest thing about my program, the first day that I got back, Tony was in the gym waiting. There's no greater ambassador for what I stand for, and these guys know Tony.
Oh yes.
So you have guys like that that are in and around. He's gonna help get the message to them. Being around. He's back at UAB right now, but I'm just saying, when you have guys that are alumni that care enough about the program, care enough about the atmosphere that we have, it's going to sell the program moving forward.
He's a great example for your players too. He bought into your process. You developed him as a player. He's playing for Andy Kennedy at UAB, a very, very good Division I program, which is where your guys want to get.
Well, I tell you, the next great ticket to me is Dakarian Bryant. He marked that name down. We're going to change his body. We got to get him to love basketball. He likes it and he's talented. Right. We're going to go to another level mentally, so he can be all in all the time. And then I tell you, this big guy Travell Bone, he gets himself in shape. He's got a chance to play, at the collegiate level as well.
And finally, we're here with Howard Pride. I know, Coach, you mentioned this is a team you believe by the end of this season, no one's going to want to play in February when the area tournament comes along, and that's what you're playing for. But what's going to be the most important part? I mean, for this team, what's your expectations, I guess, for year one back in your second tenure at the helm of the Jags?
To get better every day. I mean, like I said, these are young guys. You can't. I think our schedule sets up to where you cannot. We didn't. The schedule was already made before I got there.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to break it down in our season into quads. I always do that. You can't go undefeated till you win game number one. And then once you have experienced that first bit of success, breaking that down and just getting better, trust your eyes, trust your teammates, but more importantly, be all in, because if you're not, I'm going to have you to get out.
Absolutely. It's a perfect way to end it. Well, Coach, we're ecstatic to have you back here in North Alabama and in the Huntsville area. We look forward to May Jemison Jaguar basketball in November. It's a program with a lot of tradition. I know it's not been the May Jemison Jaguars long. It was the Johnson Jaguars for many, many years. And Johnson and Butler, your former alma mater, merged. But it's a program that everyone always kind of looks to as a tempo setter for the city of Huntsville and North Alabama. And with you back at the helm, we know that's going to be the case. Welcome back and good luck this season. Good luck the rest of June. Keep your kids healthy. But we're so happy to have you back, and we appreciate the time here at Supreme Courts in Guntersville, Alabama.
Well, thank you for having us. And I also want to say Supreme Courts, looking forward to, once we get our program built, being here as showcase.
Yeah.
We want to be out front and center. So thank you for the opportunity, having us, hosting us. We'll be back next week to play on the 16th, and then we're just looking to get better.
And we're looking forward to that, looking forward to the process. Thank you, Coach, and we appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.